Hello, everyone, and welcome to Club Deck Corner here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. I am your host, as always, Scott Carney. Well, not as always, but the majority of the time, I am Scott Carney, and joining me tonight, Alistair Pearson. How are you, mate?
Not too bad. Just looking forward to tomorrow night, obviously. Champions League music at Ibrox as well. We didn't get to hear it in the first
Oh,
group
yeah.
stage game, so we'll be hearing that tomorrow. So very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we will hear it. That's good. Well brought up, mate. There's a reason I've got you in this podcast. Scott Gemmell, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Enjoyable weekend watching Rangers there domestically. And yeah, looking forward to tomorrow night, like yourself and Ali. Also have away fans there as well, because obviously they weren't there for the Napoli game either. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's all just, I think it's still going to be a rather tasty affair, but we'll come to that later on the pod. So first off, I need to give a shout out to the Pattaya loyal Glasgow Rangers supporters all the way from Thailand who watch the games in the Witherspoons, and that's Witherspoons with an I.
I've seen that.
which is absolutely brilliant. But yeah, cheers to David and for the support of the pod. And before we start, just a shameless plug. Please do subscribe to the channel. Please do like the video. Also, leave your comments. It's always good to hear your opinions on the stuff that we're going to speak about tonight. If you'd like to go a step further to support the podcast, you can join the YouTube channel for becoming a member for as little as 99p a month. You can also buy the podcast a coffee and join the Coffee Buying Legend membership via buymeacoffee.com. All the links for that are in the description for this podcast. So, gents, we'll start with the 4-0 win over St Mirren on Saturday. Before we break down the goals, talk about individual players. Scotia, your thoughts on the performance overall, and did you notice anything different tactically that we haven't been doing that we did do on Saturday?
Well, overall, I was really pleased with the performance. It was a decent run out, 4-0. You can never kind of turn your nose up at that. Fairly comfortable. St Mirren weren't sitting in all the time. It was quite a decent game of football in that respect that, they were coming and playing when they could. But we were very comfortable. I thought team's looking better. It's getting there. Certain individuals, you can see that they're getting up to speed a wee bit more. And yeah, what we done more is we were a wee bit more direct going forward, certainly. I don't know if that helped with the kind of the personnel that we had on the pitch at that time. Jack was also playing a bit higher up and more of an sort of advanced 8 role than he has been when he'd been playing more regularly, when he was maybe sitting further back in that 6th position with Lundstrom. But it was good to see him getting a wee bit higher up the park. Still a wee bit of concerns in the sort of 10 area, but I thought overall it was a very decent run out for Rangers and should set us up in good stead for the game tomorrow night.
Yeah, I agree. You can never turn your nose up at a 4-0 victory, ever. And St Mirren have been doing pretty good in the league recently, obviously coming off the back of a win against Celtic. So, yeah, it was a really good performance, a much improved performance in my opinion. Ali, without going through the whole agenda, did you notice anything completely different about the way we were approaching things? I think Scotia's right in terms of, I thought Rat and Jack was a wee bit further forward, but we also took a shot from time to time.
Yeah, had a couple of shots from outside the goal, which was surprising. Kamara came on the second half and had a chance. We didn't shoot, but that's going to Kamara. No, the big difference I've noticed, and it isn't a difference, it's personnel, is Ben Davies. It's Davies. You know, people that say Davis, by the way, annoys me.
No.
Ben Davies. But
Davies.
Aye, Davies. But yeah, I think he's been a massive help in the last couple of games. So you can see Goldson, see the difference in Goldson with a guy beside him that he can trust, not trust, but a natural left-sided defender beside him. Goldson, I think, has been really good the last couple of games, and it's because he doesn't have to not babysit the guy next to him, but he can get on with his own game now because he knows the guy beside him will do his job. And I've been impressed with Davies. He's another guy. A lot of the time we get the ball, piss about at the back and give it to Goldson to do the Hollywood passes, I would say. Davies can do that ball now. So we don't rely on Goldson all the time to do that ball. Davies can do it, which he showed at the weekend. I think he's a huge plus point going forward in this Rangers team. That was a big difference I've seen. I know it wasn't tactical, but it was personnel. That was massive. And like you say, the second half, especially Ryan Jack getting released a wee bit more forward, kind of freed everything up a wee bit. The man of his arm there was freed more. I thought it was a perfect start, to be honest. Give me that every Saturday at Ibrox. But to be fair, that's how it should be every Saturday at Ibrox against, with no disrespect, teams like St Mirren.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, don't get me wrong, St Mirren did come and they actually tried to play football at times, and McGregor was called into action a number of times. He made one great save, two probably good saves, and the rest all kind of routine. But that's the way football should be. That's what should happen. We are by far the better team. No one's going to tell me we're not better than St Mirren, but a team that actually want to try and play football. And I don't think their intention to try and play football and not park the bus and play a back 10 was their downfall on Saturday. I think Rangers we took our opportunities when they came our way, with none more so than the fact that we've got Antonio Čolak right now, who is absolutely on fire. Scotia, I'll juggle things about you a bit because Ali started with Davies. I don't think it can be underestimated the impact he's having on that back line. And Ali said maybe not trust. I do think it's trust. I think he knows he doesn't need to worry about what he's going to do. He's got a bit of pace about him. He's a very experienced centre half. He's not a midfielder, i.e. Sands, playing at the back to fill a hole. And what I also noticed with Davies is there is no touch for touch's sake. It's there's a ball, there's the pass, there's a ball, there's the pass. Even if it's out to Barisic, we didn't dilly-dally. We were much more efficient with the ball.
Yeah, I think Davies coming in has been huge, like Ali says there, although it does kind of coincide with... Oh, sorry, Davies.
I knew he was going to do that. I knew. I was waiting for that there.
Yeah, but I mean, he's coming into the side and it's coincided with McGregor getting put back into the goals. So, you know, do you read anything into that with Goldson having McGregor behind them? Because McGregor's another one of these screamer shouters. But yeah, bringing Davies in is really interesting. I know this is going way further into the match, but when Yilmaz come on with Davies now being there, I think it's maybe now time that you'll see him kind of getting brought into the team more often in games like Saturday, just to give Borna a rest if he needs it, because Borna's been playing very well recently. So yeah, Davies coming in is huge, and it does give you that comfort that you've got these two players that can both play in their natural positions. So I think if you look back to the Livingston game at the start of the season, when Suter was obviously in there, you could see that he was slightly uncomfortable at the left-hand side at periods, but the team that day didn't play great either. And then with Sands coming in, it was similar to when Bassey get switched in there last season, that he was getting better and better in the position, but you could still clearly see it wasn't there as such. So it's an interesting one with Sands, given that he was obviously got that suspension, then a wee knock, I think, as well. It's kind of kept him out of the team. But no, going forward, Davies and Goldson in your centre defence with a more than capable backup in young Leon King at the moment. And then obviously we do have Hollander and Suter still to come back, although that's obviously quite a period away. But the centre half position is now, at this stage, it's now looking very comfortable, whereas maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, we were concerned about it.
Yeah, because we still don't know where Hollander is or how long he's going to be out for. We spoke about it when we left the game on Saturday when we were walking down. I don't see how now Hollander can even compete. In my opinion, a lot of people really rate Hollander. I've never not rated him and never thought that he shouldn't be playing, but I've always thought we could have done better. And I think Davies is looking like he will be better from what I've seen. And there's still more to come from him. He's still not completely match fit. He's not played a lot of football, and obviously he get injured as well. So still more to come from him. But I'm very impressed with what I've seen so far, and it's a very comfortable pairing and having Goldson and Davies. And you're right with Leon King. I mean, there's already rumours that English teams are watching him, and they probably are, because he doesn't look inexperienced. He doesn't look like he's out his depth, and he's played a Champions League game at Anfield. I mean, there's not many players that can say that in the world. So no, no, it doesn't look 18. No, I think Ali, mind we were at the St Mirren game last. Was it last year? It must have been last year. Yeah, and we seen him when he was warming up, and we were at St Mirren Stadium or whatever it's called now, and we both said, "Oh, he looks a big lad, definitely." Ali, we'll move on to Antonio Čolak. really running out of superlatives for this man. I really am. Another 2 goals, a proper striker's goal by falling in after a great strike for Borna. Still a difficult finish as the ball kind of bounces back to McPace, but he adjusts really well to tuck it away. And the second goal, it was a real moment of class. He's making the right moves. He's making the right decisions right now with everything that he's doing, and he looks very comfortable. And we could be getting him at the absolute peak of his powers throughout his career. My question to you is: do you think he's developed a reputation now, and teams are probably going to really need to start taking him seriously? And by reputation, I mean the way teams will fear. Well, used to fear. I'll get slated in the comments for this. I already know this. But the way they used to fear Kent, the way they used to fear Morelos when they were in the proper form. I think Čolak's, people are going to be taking notice of him.
Yeah, definitely. The goals he's scoring at the moment is phenomenal. I mean, he's scoring 2 goals in the league all the time now. He just, every time the ball comes to him, you just think he's going to score. I'd love to see his shots and conversion rate in terms of how many shots and how many goals he's scored, because he does. If you look at the games, it's not as if he has like 10 chances in a game and scores 2. It's quite
2 chances, 2
gets.
goals.
It's not like you used to see Alfie would get maybe 10 chances and score 1 of them or something, or 2 of them, or whatever. But with Čolak, he doesn't get as many, but he puts them away, and he can score all times of different goals. He's not just a goal scorer now either. Every game he's getting better, but his link-up play for me is getting much better now. He's coming to link the play now. His all-round game's really good, and he's got a headache now, Gio. It's a good headache in terms of he's got 2 excellent strikers, different strikers. And obviously tomorrow night is a major headache for him, because, like I said about Anfield, if we get 1 chance tomorrow, who do you want that to fall to? And all of us will say Čolak, because you know he'll put the ball in the back of the net. I've probably cursed him by saying that now in case that happens tomorrow night. But no, you know what I mean. He's a natural striker for me. Morelos, isn't he a natural striker? Morelos started his career as a sort of attacking midfielder, and he's developed into a striker. But he's been phenomenal, Čolak. I mean, I remember in the beginning of the season, we kind of thought, don't know about him. And every game, he just gets better and better and better. And you just expect him to score all the time now.
Yeah, it's becoming very much the who do you think the scorers are going to be apart from Čolak? He's slowly working his way into that conversation. Scotia Ali made the point as well that I agree. I think his link-up plays better. I think he's dropping deeps better. It was actually him that took a bit of a heavy touch for the first goal, and he just beat the defender to it when it fell to Borna. And what I loved about Čolak was he just thought, I'm going to get in the box here because anything could happen. It's like, he's definitely the most natural striker that we've seen in maybe since Defoe. And obviously we didn't get Defoe really in his peak, but like this is just a guy that's a good stature and size. He's strong, he's powerful, his movement's fantastic. As I say, we are probably cursing him here, mate, but he just continues to impress.
Yeah, I mean, it's that 13 goals now he's scored in 16 games.
16,
and I think we've kind of got a tendency to maybe pigeonhole players into certain brackets, like going on, you've scored these many goals, you're this type of player. But I don't think he is. I think I've said before, I can see him as more of a kind of merging of a Kenny Miller and Chris Boyd type player. Merge them together and you get a player like Čolak, because I don't think he's maybe at the levels of Jelavic, but he's not hugely far off it in his very early start to his Rangers career. I mean, I think people maybe looked at when he came in and looked at his numbers when he was out at Thessaloniki, out in Greece, and his numbers out there weren't great. But when he had been back on loan to Malmo, obviously we know all about it because he put us out the Champions League last season. They had decent numbers for them and decent numbers when he was at them, permanently before moving to Greece. And so people maybe looked at those numbers in that season, which I think was round about the kind of just as everything was getting back to normal after COVID. So you maybe factor that into it. But came to Scotland and he's took like a duck to water in terms of domestically. providing for us. And I think, like Ali mentions, there is that conversation now that he's been left out of the side on some occasions in the Champions League games, and Morelos has come straight back in. There is the conversation that we're going to have about who starts up front tomorrow in terms of Čolak and Morelos. And like Ali says, if we get that one chance, at the moment in time, it would be Čolak to go to it, because obviously Morelos is still working his way up to full match sharpness. Maybe seen a wee bit of that at times on Saturday, just as he came on, Morelos, that you could still see that coming into the game that wee bit late. It's not just quite there yet for Morelos, but it's getting there. But no, Čolak and is wonderful, and that second goal was delightful. I had a perfect view of it. Like, I was right behind him watching it, and it was a perfect view up in the club deck from where I was. And Matt, our friend Tommy, who's been on this before, he came down and sat beside me in the second half, which I was a wee bit apprehensive about because they'd done that for the PSV game and we ended up drawing. But no, he came down and Čolak scored an absolutely wonderful peach of a goal.
Yeah, and absolutely, it was one of the ones where he cut inside. You made that noise of, oh, do you know what I mean? Like, as he done it, it was like, oh, here we go. But the outside of the right, I expected him to hit it with his left. I think we probably all did. But with the outside of the right foot to get it just inside the post, it's a top class finish. It really is. It's absolutely superb. I did notice as well when Morelos came on, he didn't really get the ovation that he usually gets, Alfredo Morelos. It wasn't the same kind of roar, and I'd very much.
That's because Ali was very quiet. Ali's still in the huff with him, I think.
Morelos.
It's very much the case that it's very cliche, there's a new sheriff in town. And I said after his second goal, I said to my dad, we were sitting watching it, I said, Morelos must be sitting watching this with his face tripping, just going, this guy just won't stop scoring, because as long as he's on this kind of run of form, I genuinely can't see why you would and how you could possibly say to Morelos, you're going to need to sit this, or say to Čolak even, you're going to need to sit this one out while Morelos comes in. I don't think it would be very fair. I know there's different games, there's different approaches to different games for who we are playing, but domestically especially, I can't see how Morelos gets a game over Čolak right now, unless they both end up playing in the same team, but that probably won't happen.
See, with Čolak, Carney, do you think he's maybe getting a wee bit, not annoyed at Van Bronckhorst, but he's certainly going to have the conversation with him to not take him off when he's only in 2 goals? Yeah. Because that hat-trick can't be far away.
Yeah, well, I agree, but I also, I know, obviously, we went to Anfield last week and we were never really expecting a win, but I think he'd have been within his right at that point to go into Gio and go, sorry, what? You didn't play me at Anfield because why? Like, not that I'm saying it would have made a difference or anything, but he deserved it. We didn't really expect anything from that game anyway. But we'll come on to Liverpool later on. But yeah, no, he has been denied. That's 2-3 chances now. He's been stopped for 3 chances. He's had to get in a hat trick now. He's been took off just to give Morelos to make Morelos' face turn the other way for a wee bit. But no. Ali, we can't really take away, we spoke about the second goal there, we cannot take away from the work of Mr. Waka Waka himself, Fashion Sakala, for his work in the second goal. The way he beats his man right on the touchline, literally through into the midfield and slips in Čolak with the perfect ball. It's a great finish. It's a great ball. It's a great assist for Sakala, and Sakala's continuous. He deserved his goal in the second half for his performance in the second half. And Morelos, again, it can't really be underestimated how well a timed pass this is for Sakala. It's literally perfect. Sakala's already at full pace as he goes to break the line, and Morelos has already played the ball to him, and it's a brilliant finish. But Sakala, this is what he can do. We know he can be frustrating at times. We know. I hate the word raw because of the age he is. He's not raw. This is just what he is now. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's ever going to be any different than what it is. But I mean, if he continues to play like that, the way he did in his second half, because it was arguably his best 45 in a Rangers jersey that I can remember. I honestly thought he was great. And you even uttered the words to me, unplayable, mate, and the pod after in the car on the way home. But do you see him now getting a run in this team?
Yeah, well, I think he should. I know you've got Ryan Kent's the left side. Let's be honest about it. I know Matondo was over there, but that's Ryan Kent's. So the right side's up for grabs, like it's been up for grabs for years at the moment. I'd give Sakala a go there. I would, regardless of if he plays him tomorrow there from the start or whatever. Just take that out of the equation. Motherwell on Sunday, Sakala plays for me, and Motherwell. That was probably his other great game that he played, where he got a hat trick at Motherwell, if you remember. Sakala. So definitely for me, he plays against Motherwell, but. Yeah, I thought he took his chance. Sakala, like I says on the aftermatch, unlike Matondo, and I've listened to a couple of other pods this week on a game. Not much of them mentioned Matondo, to be honest, in terms of we were quite critical of Matondo. And I still think we were right to be critical because he got the chance on the left-hand side, and I thought at times he hid a wee bit for me, Matondo. I don't like that. We're playing St Mirren. Whereas you look at Sakala on the right-hand side, and he just wanted the ball all the time, and he wanted. Well, we know with Sakala, he can only go forward, and that's what I like about Sakala. He's so direct. He must be a nightmare to defend against because, like we say, he doesn't know what he's doing. So how's the defender meant to know what Sakala's doing? But he just goes one way, and when he's like that, he is unplayable. The problem is he won't be like that every week. He could play against Motherwell on Sunday and have an absolute stinker, and folk will go, "Oh, what are we doing with Sakala?" But I honestly think we need to persist with somebody on this right-hand side in league games in particular. And for me, he's got the jersey, Sakala, and I'd give him it going forward. You look at the run of games we've got coming up, away to Motherwell. I'm talking league games here, at home to Livingston and at home to Aberdeen. To me, he plays 8 games. If he continues that form, and he's got the shirt for me going forward.
Yeah, Scotia, your thoughts on Sakala? Ali, he is right. I mean, after the Queen of the South game, mate, I was like, he's done, like, he's finished. Like, I didn't see how Sakala would come back from it because he was hoaching. He really was terribly bad. Is it something we will need to just persevere with? And would you like to see him get a run in the team as well?
Yeah, for Sakala, after his last few games, his wee cameo appearance against Liverpool, and then at the weekend there, like he's come in out the cold, really, if we're being honest, because he wasn't really getting a sniff in before that. And he does give us that option out there because, like Kelly says, I think we've had an issue at that right wing position since Candace has left. And we've never really managed to resolve it. We've tried different players in there, and some of them have played well in there, but you can tell that it's not their natural position. I'm looking at your likes of Arfield, your likes of Hadji. He's played there Tillman when he's been put in there this season. He's looked lost. So, yeah, Sakala comes in, he does that. He's so unpredictable that he doesn't know what he's going to do. The team doesn't know what he's going to do. So, in certain games, that can be a real benefit. Now, like Ali says, there will be periods where it'll be really frustrating once again, but Sakala gives you the, like, we always go on about how Kent never kind of stops and never gives up. Sakala's similar in that respect, that he always keeps going, plays with a smile on his face, which is always good to see. So I think at the moment, just based on his last couple of performances, given the options that we do have there at the moment, I think it's his to lose at the minute, really, because who have you got? You've got Scott Wright, who he's now, I mean, we're in the situation where it looks like he's dropped out the picture, and then obviously Matondo, who, speak about him, Matondo, he didn't have his best game there out in the left against St Mirren, but I know you guys were fairly critical of him, and I did think he didn't have a great game. But it's one game. I mean, we were raving about him after was it the West Ham game where he came on and he had a really good game against them. If Matondo, if that shot that he had at near the start of the second half goes in, you're maybe having a different conversation if that had went in. I know it's the only thing he probably done of it much note, but still, it's these wee fine margins. I'll give Matondo a bit of the benefit of the doubt. I don't think you can write him off after one fairly poor performance.
So, I reiterated it numerous times. I wasn't writing him off completely, but from what I seen in that first half, all I said on Saturday alone, based on that first half, I would rather have an out of form Ryan Kent there because Matondo was shocking in that first half. That was my personal opinion. I thought he spent far too much time running into defenders instead of trying to take them on. He also fell down far too many times for my liking. There was a wee bit rough and tumble off the ball, but you're going to need to really buck up your ideas because it won't work up here. You remember that Morelos did that for a while when he first came. He used to just go down at like a breath would go past him and he would go down at any given time, and you have to get that out of your game because you won't survive up here. It's as simple as that. I just wasn't impressed with him. If that goal goes in, you're probably thinking that's probably the goal of the game because it would have been a terrific strike. But why did it take him that long to do it? It was just before they got subbed off. So, in my opinion, he knew he was coming off. So, for me, he didn't take his opportunity. I'll stand by what I was saying. I think I'll agree with Ali that we were right to be critical of him. I just wasn't very impressed with him at all. I really wasn't. And that's not because I'm a Ryan Kent fanboy. I'm just saying. I just didn't think he was very good. Okay. But nevertheless, anyway, a good win. A much more direct attacking attitude, which is always good to see. A clean sheet and back-to-back 4-0 wins. So let's hope we are starting a trend here. We'll move on, gents. Other Rangers. Yes, mate.
Sorry, before you move on, I'd want to get you ask your opinion on this because I know in the post-match pod you hadn't seen the penalty back yet. I just want to get your thoughts on do you think it was a penalty or not?
No, I don't. No,
I was watching it back, the highlights back today, and I was the similar. I'd like see if we concede a penalty like that against Liverpool tomorrow night. I would be fuming.
Okay. You'd be raging.
No, we've got VAR tomorrow night though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It was the camera angles weren't great, to be honest, when I was seeing it back. But I don't know. Soft. I wasn't shouting for it in live play, to be honest.
No, I didn't either. I just heard them blow the whistle on point. So there was a kind of lack of a shout. Even watching it back, there was a kind of lack of a shout. So it's a soft penalty. Look, I'm going to take it every day of the week. Thank you very much, Mr. Referee. We will take that one and run with it. But no, it was a very, very soft penalty. I didn't actually think he was too bad. The referee's at Nick Walsh. I thought he was all right.
Wee Sergeant Major, I call him.
Wee Sergeant Major, aye. We're definitely there's t-shirts that are 2 sizes too small for him. But, I thought he was okay. Did you hear what Ian Maxwell said? Is that the guy that works for the SFA that said a bit far? He's like, I expect when it first comes in over the first 3 months, VAR will be horrendous. You're like, oh, brilliant.
That's exactly how's that the case? But how's that the case? Surely you're given a monitor to look what happens. So.
Well, there's a blueprint now for it, though, isn't there? Let's be honest. It's been trialled in so many different countries now. We're obviously still in the dark ages in Scotland, and we're the only country in the world that would bring it in halfway through a season. But I don't understand how we can just immediately think we're going to make an arse of it. You're like,
because you've got Kevin Clancy and all that. I'm going to be looking at it, so he's probably looking, going, "Christ, look who we've actually got working this VAR."
There always was going to be teething problems with it, but having Ian Maxwell come out and say it's going to be horrendous or whatever, I can't remember the exact words he says, but yeah, it doesn't fill you with confidence. And then the point of fair play the point of fair play, bringing it in halfway through a season, I was thinking obviously Dundee United and Hibs playing their kind of rearranged game from the Queen's death tonight. But we'll be playing our game against Aberdeen with VAR in place. So we'll have like the Rangers, Celtic and Hearts and the teams that they're playing. I'll have one extra game with VAR in just by the way the fixtures are getting played. Sporting integrity and all.
Oh, aye, sporting integrity, mate. Yes, definitely. But what chance you got? Honestly, it just sums up Scottish football. Honestly, like I reckon he's got the delivery of the VAR system, and he's just opened it up, and it's like a 1980s VHS video recorder, and he's just like, "Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good." Bought off the aftermarket and all that. So yeah, but we'll move on to other Rangers news. News from the club this week that McCrory and Devine have signed new deals with the club. Ali, you got to think that McCrory has been made a promise here, because why would they sign a new contract?
Yeah, me and Scotia discussed it on Friday on the show about McCrory's contract. I was surprised. I thought he'd go and look for football elsewhere, but where did you say he was, Scotia? 24 he is, McCrory, isn't he? 24. So still young for a goalkeeper when you think about it. I know it's 24 as a football player, but as a goalkeeper, it's young. But yeah, I think he's been told behind closed doors, next season's your chance. Maybe not number one, but I could see him being a number two. I still think we need to go and buy a goalkeeper next season. Depends what we do with McLaughlin, but I still think we need to go and buy a number one. But yeah, I think he's been promised something, because I'd be surprised, because I think Scotia mentioned when we talked about it, he's probably looking at his brother at Aberdeen when he's went down that route, and he's doing well in McCrory at Aberdeen to maybe catch the eye to go maybe somewhere else to a bigger team. So, yeah, I'm surprised. The boy Devine signing as well, that doesn't shock me because we need cover at right back. We don't have anyone else. So, and I thought he's been decent when he's come in. Looks steady enough. So, aye, it's good going forward.
Yeah, Devine's certainly the full understudy to James Tavernier now. I don't think there's any great doubt, and he's probably been promoted like full time to the first team, I would imagine. I don't think has he been playing for the B team at all, Scotia? You know that.
No, he's been on our bench more often than not than he has because the B team, an awful lot of the B teams this year have been at 3 o'clock on a Saturday Premier play as well.
Yeah, Ali. Also, I'll take by your comments on it'll be number 2 next season. And you don't know what to do with McLaughlin. You expect Alan McGregor to retire this year?
Aye, 100%. He's not staying about for next year. Aye.
Mate, I would not be so sure. Honestly, I'm no way.
See if he plays the way he's playing at the moment, Alan McGregor. Honestly, Alan McGregor has been absolutely outstanding since he's come into this Rangers team. And he's coming for cross balls as well, so
still gives me
never
the fear.
Say never.
I know. Aye.
Craig Gordon says he wants to stay on for more years. He probably could, Craig Gordon as well, but it depends what Alan McGregor wants to do. But I can't see. I know we're having a laugh and a joke here, but I can't see next year McGregor staying on. He needs to retire and enjoy himself.
Yeah, well, maybe. So, what do you think? You're a long time retired, but.
Yeah, I mean, I like you. It wouldn't surprise me if something just goes in his head. No, I'll stay on for another year. Because if your body's feeling up to it, then why not? Get as much out of your life playing football as you can. Because you hear stories about people that as soon as they hang up the gloves, hang up the boots, that there's just this big gaping hole in their life because they're not part of like a first team football squad. So wait and see in that one. But in terms of those new deals for the kids, yeah, it's good. Doesn't mean that McCrory's been given promises. Potentially, I've always kind of had McCrory as being a successor for McGregor in the long term, but I think also as well it's kind of just securing our assets down a bit to make sure that they're not running out their contract and not going for it enough peanuts really. So just need to wait and see. It'll be interesting to see who starts and goes against Dundee next week in the League Cup. Because
it would be McGregor,
I think I don't think Gio's got a definite number one. I think McGregor and McLaughlin are still vying out for that spot, but at the moment McGregor's not losing the gloves based on his performances.
You can't drop Alan McGregor. No, you can't. He'll seize up if he's not playing him. No, I think McGregor's number one, mate. I do. I don't think Gio would ever come out and say it, and not in as plain terms as that, without trying to, I don't know, upset McLaughlin in any way, shape, or form. But I would definitely think that McGregor will be the number one going forward. And yeah, I think the game against Dundee, it will be McCrory that starts that, and probably Devine. I would imagine. You might as well reward the guys for getting them to sign new deals. So you might as well play them. Right, Liverpool now. So obviously we were beat 2-0 last week at Anfield with a free kick from Trent Alexander-Arnold and a Mo Salah penalty. Liverpool were beat domestically at the weekend by Arsenal, 3-2. A pretty good game, I must say. I sat and watched it. It was a pretty decent game. The press conference just before we come on recorded there, Gio said in the press conference, our approach will be different as we need points to be in Europe after Christmas. We need to attack, but we also need to defend properly as well. It's always important to make the correct decisions in the match. It will be a hectic game. Liverpool are a team with a lot of runners and pace. We have to be strong mentally also to stay with the 11 and get stronger as the game proceeds. We have two natural goal scorers with different styles of play. Tomorrow we will start with 11 players that I think are capable of getting a result. And on injuries, no fresh injuries. Kamara is maybe a doubt. John Lundstrom also spoke to the press. He said, we will be coming out of the traps tomorrow looking for a positive result. At Ibrox, it will be different with everyone behind us and we can do something special. Liverpool are still an unbelievable team with top-class players and manager. We know it will be a tough match. There is something that happens underneath the lights here. It is special. It gives everyone a lift. Hopefully, it does more of the same tomorrow. At Ibrox, we have to get involved and get the crowd with us early. We have to be brave on the pitch and in the stands. No good sitting off this team. We have to go for it. Ali, there is no doubt that Liverpool are slightly shaky defensively. Let's be honest, they are going to be out now without a number of players. So Trent Alexander-Arnold's injured, Diaz is injured, and Matip is injured, and they do have Man City at the weekend. But from what Gio and from what Lundstrom's saying there, I wish Ryan was here because it sounds a wee bit attack to me.
I think we need to.
You have to.
We can't go into the game tomorrow like we did at Anfield, where we kind of just sat and let Liverpool play with the ball. We didn't take it to them. I mean, I watched that Arsenal. It was a great game to watch, Karen. I agree with you. It was a fantastic game. I thought Arsenal, Arteta's got them playing well. The boy, is it Martinelli on the left-hand side? Oh, I'll tell you what, he's a successor for Ryan Kent for us, by the way. What a player that boy is. Honestly, if I could sign him, he's a baller, by the way. Absolutely outstanding, that young lad. And he's young, 20, 21 or something. But I watched Arsenal. They high-pressed Liverpool, especially the first half. They just went for them, and it was all Arsenal. Whether obviously we are not Arsenal, we don't have their players, especially that I don't know who's in the middle of the park for us tomorrow in terms of legs and energy, but we need to be in their faces tomorrow, Liverpool, for the first whistle and just go at them. Play our game. We're at Ibrox, similar to how we played against Leipzig, Braga last season. We need to play the same way because to me tomorrow it's win or bust. I don't want to go there and watch Rangers just sit in and try and nick a goal because they might think that's the way to go, but I'd rather see Rangers go out and have a go at Liverpool. And if we get beat, we get beat. I can take that, but I want to see what I know this Rangers team can do. Yes, we're playing a top team in Liverpool. I know they've got injuries, but they're a top team. They've been in 3 out of 5 Champions League finals, for God's sake. They're a class team. I just want to see us lay a glove on them. I want energy. I want what Lundstrom's basically said. We're going to get at them, but we need to get at them from the start, and that's what I hope to see tomorrow.
Yeah, Scotia, that's all we can really ask for. I think we obviously know it's going to be a tough match. Ali's correct. This is Liverpool at the end of the day. They are an extremely good team. But I think all I want as a fan, I don't know if you agree, is give Ibrox a chance. Give Ibrox a chance to get behind you. Don't line up in a back five. Don't stand off Liverpool. Try and take the game to them, especially early on. As the music's playing, everything's building. I reckon the atmosphere is going to be incredible. We all know what Ibrox can be like on special nights like this. And if Gio lines up and does give it a go, and the players go out and try and give it a go, Ibrox is going to be right with them. That's surely all we can ask for.
Bare minimum that we should be asking for in games like this, because let's face it, we need to get a point at the very minimum tomorrow night to give us really any chance of going through. And I've just seen there that Maccabi Haifa went 2-0 up against Juve, so they look as if they're on track to not finish with 0 points, which unfortunately we're on track to potentially being doing. So we do really need to get something out of the game. Play like you mentioned the games from last season in Europe there, but even how we started the game against Napoli at Ibrox a couple of weeks back, you know, we were competing with them up until the sending off, which is good going considering what I think Gio alluded to in his press conference in terms of Napoli going to Amsterdam and turning over them Ajax 6-1. So we really need to go out and at least have a bit to go for it. I know Gio in his presser as well, right at the end, he was asked about, will we see Leon King tomorrow? And he said, yes, we will, but I'm hoping that's maybe just I will see him at some point during the game because, like you, I'd probably prefer if we didn't go for like starting off with these centre defenders for tomorrow night. I could understand the logic for it last week away from home, but at home I don't think we should be doing that. They've got injury worries, but I was looking at it. Obviously, Diaz he's an incredible player, but you look who's coming in for him. It's Bobby Firmino, and you know he's provided the goods for Liverpool over the last few seasons. Kanati probably coming in at centre half in Matip's absence, so they've still got quality in that team, Liverpool. But I think they've got obviously Man City at the weekend there, and then have they got West Ham following that as well? So these are kind of tough games and domestically for them that, you know, I think it's getting at the stage now that the league's probably gone for them. But top four still, with the way that Arsenal are playing, Spurs are playing, Chelsea look as if they're maybe starting to click into gear a wee bit. Their priority, this is probably the game that they'd look at, that, you know, we can afford to make changes and still be good enough, which if you look at it, they probably should be. But no, for Rangers, we need to come out and put in a performance, like I say, we did against Napoli for that first 60 odd minutes. And yeah, hopefully we can get something for the game. A point is at the bare minimum, really.
Yeah, I think you always have to weigh up, like, their bench, anybody on their bench, if they were to pick their strongest starting 11, probably walks straight into this Rangers team, let's be honest, walks into any team in Scotland, and that is what you're up against. The jump in class is massive, but they are on a shaky run of form right now, and their fans are not particularly happy. So yeah, I just want Rangers to apply the pressure. Just give it a good go. Honestly, just give it a go. Try and rock them, try and get in about them, get Ibrox behind you, and who knows, maybe it is going to be one of these special nights, and maybe it's one of the nights that you'll remember. The Champions League hasn't went the way we expected it. I think we've all had a wee bit of a wake-up call in terms of that. Not even just us, I think even the other side of the city, I think they've also had a bit of a wake-up call of just the levels that are involved when you get to this level. So all I want is Rangers go out and give it absolutely everything, get in their face, don't sit off them, try and put pressure on, get the crowd with you, and we'll see what happens. That's all I'm going to ask. Right, teams and scores. Ali, you can go first. What is your team prediction and your score prediction?
Right, I'm going with a positive team tomorrow, and I hope Gio was a positive team. There's one guy in my team that I've got the utter fear, but I've put him in there because there's nobody else that can really play there. I know you probably know who I'm talking about, but
yeah,
right, Shagger and goal. I'm going with a back four because a back five for me is no use tomorrow. We need to go brave tomorrow. So Tav, Goldson, Davies, Barisic. Two sitting midfielders, Lundstrom, Jack beside him. This is the man we're talking about. Tillman in the middle of the park. And I'm going Ryan Kent, the man from Zambia, is starting tomorrow night. And Cholak through the middle. And I'm going 2-1 Rangers. And it's going to be a Tav penalty. First goal.
Sounds good. I'll go quickly, mate, because it's pretty much the same team. The only one that I think might be slightly different, in order for us to maybe adjust to a back five, if we have to, we're in defence, is maybe Sands coming in for Jack. And it means either Jack or Sands or Lundstrom even can drop into the five if they need to. But I'm exactly the same, mate. I'm playing Tillman in the middle of the park as well, where he's probably meant to play. And hopefully this is the I don't know, the wee kick up the backside that he might need, the wee boost of confidence that he might need, that he's going to get a start in this game. But we need to go for it. So but everything else apart from that's exactly the same for me, even the score, mate. And I'm going for Tony goals to get 2, and we'll beat Liverpool by 2-1. Scotia, your team and score, mate.
My team's very similar, although probably just a slightly bit more defensive. And mine is, rather than Tillman, I'm bringing Stephen Davis back in. So midfield, Davis, Jack, and Lundstrom. Just because I've got Sakala.
Can't do that, Scotia.
Because I've got Sakala playing out there on the right, I've got a feeling that he plays that kind of Davis, Jack, Lundstrom kind of midfield. So it's a fairly similar team, but obviously a bit more defensive minded, because I think, like I was saying with Jack against St Mirren there, given that it was playing that wee bit further forward, hopefully that's him getting up to speed, and we'll see that more rather than it being like a 3-6s. So hopefully that's the case. Before I give you my score as well, as I wouldn't normally say this, but it wouldn't bother me too much if Lundstrom get a yellow card in the game tomorrow night, because he's one game away from suspension. Or one booking away from suspension. So I would
you're basically saying we're getting hee-haw in Napoli, Scotia, is that what you're saying?
Yes, because pretty much, Pearson, yeah. So I'd rather he missed the Napoli game than the Ajax game, because that could be, if we get the result that we're hoping for, then that could be a kind of Europa League decider game. But I'm going 2-1 as well for Rangers. and I'm going to give the first goal scorer to Connor Goldson.
Oh, God.
Let's go
Not
for
a header
corner.
for a corner
When's the
kick.
last time we scored from a corner? The stars must be aligning for Scotia tomorrow night. Yeah, I think it probably will be Jack over Sands if we're going to go with the kind of same lineup as we were talking about, because Lundstrom can drop into that midfield, and you're right about drop into the defence even, but Scotia, you're right about Ryan Jack as well, the fact that he is playing a wee bit further forward than he is. I thought he was decent on Saturday. I thought he was good. He was unlucky not to score. It was a good save by the St Mirren keeper, so he probably deserves to keep his spot. But either way, it's a massive game, and it's something incredible to look forward to. It really is. This is what Ibrox was made for, in my opinion. Nights like this is what it is all about. If we win, obviously we give ourselves a good chance to maybe get European football after Christmas, but this is surely just all about the occasion and walk away with a bit of pride in your step after it's happened, after the game's over, and that's all we can hope for. So as always, please like the video and please subscribe to the channel. That would be great. And wherever you listen to us, if you could drop us a wee 5-star rating, that would also be much appreciated. Ali, for tonight, mate, thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.
No problem. I will see you all tomorrow. Buzzing for it tomorrow night. Champions League under the lights, the music playing as well. Honestly, you can't beat it. As I say to all the week, is over to you, Rangers. Please give us something to shout about. That's all I ask about, and not in a negative way, a good way.
Aye, that would be lovely. Scotia, thank you very much, mate, and see you tomorrow as well.
Yeah, cheers. No, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night as well. I think it's got a bit of feel similar to when Borussia Dortmund came over and played at Ibrox last season. It's got that kind of the feel about the game, in terms of the importance. So I should be a really good night, and I'll see you both tomorrow.
Yes, bring it on. Cannot wait for it. Really, really looking forward to it. So, yeah, we'll be back tomorrow night after the game with a reaction in one way or another. Win, lose or draw, you can be sure of that. So enjoy the game. I hope it's one we can all really remember and shout about. This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. That's for sure. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Play up the famous Glasgow Rangers. Cheers, everybody.